You remember what he said?
இதெல்லாம் ஆராயக்கூடாது, அனுபவிக்கணும்.
No, I meant the other one, what he said.
I'd say don't try to understand it, just feel it.
The first time I watched Interstellar, I wanted to experience the black hole. Or maybe death inside the black hole. The first time I watched Batman Begins, I wanted to be the flawed superhero for once in my life. And the first time I saw Oppenheimer, I wanted to ask myself, was OP a good guy or a bad guy? Movies have always been an integration of excitement and fantasy in my life. From watching bad movies in the front seats and good ones way behind, they've always been my taste. But you remember what he said?
I like to be about in the middle, about a third of the way down from the top. That way you're about just above the center line height-wise. The viewpoint is great, and the sound, the low end in particular, the bassy sort of notes, it kind of rolls towards the back.
Well, I did almost. I was genuinely excited to watch this movie ever since it was announced. So there I was, waiting to get immersed into Oppenheimer's world, into Nolan's world, the cinema world. This is only my second visit to a Nolan's film inside an IMAX theater, the first being Interstellar when it was re-released a couple of years back. The most interesting aspect of a Nolan's film for me personally is the ending, be it The Batman, Inception, or Interstellar. It all had some sense of hope and of course confusion. But Oppenheimer gave me another feeling at the end. Fear? I felt the movie was mostly driven by two forces, power and fear. I wish the lessons we were taught back then on chemical reactions had some stories along with them. How they were made, who made it, why they were made, and its consequences. The Trinity test scene is one of the most horrific yet the most silent movie scene I've ever seen in a cinema hall. The last I could remember of having such feeling was during Kadasi Vivasai, where I almost broke down and the old man died inside the jail premise. I made a movie reference. I was lucky to be inside a cinema hall that didn't howl for epic dialogues for once, but did struggle at times when the guys behind me were talking about balancing the chemical equations. In a way, I'm also glad that Nolan didn't elaborate much or show big threads on the house and concentrated on the guilt and its consequences. The shot of Oppenheimer watching the atomic bomb unravel in silence is a thing of beauty, just in the cinematic sense, and also gives a glimpse into the future that holds, the power he has created. Talking about power, the performances were par excellence. From Cillian Murphy, who was absolutely killing it. I'll give you a second to observe that pun. To RDJ, to Florence Pugh, to Emily Blunt. Cillian's eyes might be a substitute for a discussion until the next Fahd Fazil movie comes out. Well, at least for now. The most ironic part of all this power that OP has created is the fact that how he was timid when it came to his personal life. His choices of being aligned to an ideology was questioned, which also brought in another interesting dimension to this movie. The movie made me feel it was not just one genre Nolan was trying to cover, it was more than one. Before the movie began, I was forced or brought to my attention on various reviews. Is it worth to be seen in an IMAX screen? It is 3 hours long. Is it worth running a long marathon that will eventually put you to sleep? But then, remember what he said?
For the audience, or did you have any concerns about it being, a real, a difficult thing for an audience to grasp, or did it feel that it was something that people could grasp?
Well, it's like, fuck it, you know? I mean,
The back and forth narrative, the baby's cry, the revisiting moment with Einstein, all had a significant connect to the thread called fear. It also throws a slight dig on technologies that may have unintended consequences if they fall into the wrong hands. Hmm, did they teach this at school? The defining scene of the whole movie is the scene where Opie meets Einstein, and more defining is the fact that not everything revolves around you, Mr. Louis Strauss. That was satisfying. But at times, Opie did give me a sense of fear, and now his guilt was working. In the beginning, he was immersed in the fact that the bomb could stop wars, the way he lived his relationships, the way he did not speak up or hold his ground when it was needed. Guilt is perhaps the most painful companion of death. The entire second half gave me a glimpse into the guilty conscience world of Oppenheimer. Sometimes, is it too late to apologize? Maybe that's where belief comes in. The belief that things will change. But sometimes, the same belief can foster power and fear. Makes me wonder, is belief good? Is Oppenheimer good? And that's how I felt after I left the movie. I personally believe Oppenheimer was a well crafted movie that left me lots to comprehend. Please forgive me if you think my grammar went wrong somewhere during this video. But we just saw a movie directed by an Englishman who still kept the grammar flawed dialogue. In all fairness, I did end up liking this movie a lot, and as I said, it gave me a lot of things to comprehend at the end. The Dark Knight perhaps had one of the most beautiful endings, coupled with Hans Zimmer's beautiful composition, and Gordon seeing Batman leave for the first time. So, Mr. Nolan, I have only one thing to say.
I never said thank you.